Legendary black magician Blackwood was sentenced to death by hanging. His face was covered, and he was pulled down to choke to death. His death was verified by a renowned doctor, and so he was buried. But the next day, a report was made to Holmes and the doctor that the black mage, Blackwood, had revived from the dead. The groundskeeper claimed he saw him walking through the graveyard that morning, and there would be sheer bloody panic if the mystery wasn't solved. Holmes, who didn't believe in magic, went to the graveyard with the doctor. There, they saw the slabs, half a ton each, smashed open from the inside, and the coffin was still in there. They brought the coffin out to inspect it. It was broken open, but the body inside was no longer that of Blackwood, the black magician. Holmes brought out his tools and started examining the corpse with the doctor. They confirmed the person had died 10 to 12 hours ago and had missing front teeth. Sneakily, Sherlock took a watch from the corpse without being noticed and left the graveyard with his brother, the doctor, to find traces of the watch's owner. On their way, from the scratches left on the watch, they deduced that the man was likely a drunk. Every time he wound the watch, his hand would slip, hence the scratches. They found a clue leading them to a house. They barged through the inner door and began searching for clues. Holmes, a genius, walked through the room, sniffing different kinds of chemicals in the air. They also saw many experimental materials, discovering that the dead man had tried to combine some kind of sorcery with scientific formulas. They noticed many strange items in the room: chemicals, dried and dissected frogs clearly used for experiments. They discovered a burnt paper, but they used sulfuric acid to extract the iron from the ink. From it, they uncovered a crest belonging to the black magician, confirming the dead man had been working for him. Holmes told the doctor that though the man might be dead, whatever he had been working on, he had surely succeeded. Otherwise, he would still be alive. Later that day, Holmes was summoned by a powerful figure. Holmes was masked to stop him from knowing where he's headed. As Holmes arrived, the man apologized for the secrecy, but Holmes told him that masking him was pointless. He had already deduced their destination. He also inferred that the man was the secret head of the Temple of the Four Orders based on small details in the room. Furthermore, Holmes deduced that the real reason for the meeting was the man's fear of his own child, Blackwood. He told the man he knew Blackwood was his son because they shared the same rare iris color, dark green with diamond-shaped hazel flecks, along with identical outer ears, traits that are hereditary. This made them either brothers, or more likely father and son. Seeing that Holmes had guessed correctly, something few knew, the man decided to entrust the hunt to Holmes, as he was unable to stop his son himself. Blackwood's powers were growing daily, and his resurrection was evidence of it. They told Holmes that Blackwood's secrets were hidden in a spellbook, the source of his power. Blackwood planned to raise a force that would alter the course of the world. The man offered Holmes a handsome reward to stop him. Holmes agreed but warned the man to be cautious. He might be Blackwood's next victim. That night, while the man was bathing, the light suddenly went out, but he didn't take it seriously. Then, his water started boiling, and he couldn't escape. Blackwood appeared before him, held the man's hand as he struggled to escape the water, took off his ring, wore it himself, and left the man to die. The next day, the police arrived at the scene with Holmes. Holmes noticed dust on the bathtub. He sat down and misled the police to get them to leave. Then he pressed something in his hand, revealing a hidden door. Inside, he found symbols, totems, a magic book, and feathers, which he hid in his clothes before the police returned. He left the scene, having found what he needed. After his father's death, Blackwood took over his family. Almost everyone supported his reign and powers. He declared that the next day at noon, they would begin a new chapter in their history. Magic would lead the way. Once the people of England witnessed their new power, they would bow down in fear. They would remake the world and shape the future. But one man, Standish, refused to join the cause. He drew his gun to shoot Blackwood, but as he pulled the trigger, he burst into flames and fell through the window, screaming in pain. Confident, Blackwood told the others not to be afraid. They were protected. He ordered them to drink their allegiance, and they did. While searching for clues about Blackwood's whereabouts, Holmes and the doctor snuck into a factory. They found another lab and realized something mechanical had recently been removed. Holmes picked up a rat and took its tail. They entered a room where pigs were hanging everywhere. Suddenly, Blackwood's voice echoed throughout the room. He told Holmes his plans were beyond comprehension. He wanted Holmes to bear witness. Tomorrow, at midday, the world as they knew it would end. The doctor told him to show his face so they could end it now. Holmes told him to save his bullet, but Blackwood appeared behind them. Holmes immediately shot at the door, using all his rounds, even though he'd said to save bullets earlier. Suddenly, a machine activated. At the end of it was a girl, Holmes's lover, tied up. Holmes ran through the fire to save her while the doctor tried to shut off the flames, but the chains were hard to remove. Then the bandsaw turned on, capable of cutting humans in half. Still chained, the girl was moving toward the saw with the pigs. Holmes and the doctor did everything to stop the machine. Holmes threw pig bones into it to jam it while the doctor tried to break a pressure pipe. Just as she was about to be cut, the pipe burst above them. She barely survived. The doctor immediately pursued Blackwood but triggered a wire trap, causing a massive explosion. Even Holmes and his lover were thrown back by the blast. Later, the police arrived. One officer told Holmes that Lord Coward had issued a warrant for his arrest, but quietly told Holmes to flee. His brother was still alive, so he needn't worry. The doctor was hospitalized, and Holmes began tracking Blackwood again. He drew a magic circle and performed rituals, using his own blood as a catalyst, to uncover Blackwood's power. He reflected on past events, piecing together missed clues. Suddenly, he awoke in shock, his brother standing before him and his lover lying atop him.